Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another, I guess, update video here in Marvel Strike Force. My apologies if my voice sounds a little bit raspy. I've been suffering from major pollen allergies. Have been just insane, so my voice and my throat is not feeling that great. Happy end of Canada Day. No, actually, it's over now. I'm recording this just before the end of the day here on Monday. And boy, has today been a wild effing ride. Since the launch of Sword Satellite and just some other things that have come out for today, it's just been an absolute disaster mess. And so in this video, I want to talk to you about what's going on with Sword Satellite, what to expect, and why you kind of need to get on this now because you only have 2 days to collect the milestone rewards. And we're going to talk about that and what they plan to do. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Okay, so you may or may not have seen my first video about Sword Satellite, which was basically that they effed up and they did not release the tower floors 41 through 50 like they were supposed to do. Now, good for me, I was able to get to floor 31. However, I did not do it before they implemented the change. So, what changed? Well, basically, when they added floors 41 to 50, they fucked up the points. They changed the points on 31 through 40, and so when you were able to clear floor 35 before, you actually were able to get 1 million milestone points, which was absolutely huge. Because if we look at the milestones themselves, they they capped out at different points before. I forget what the exact number was. But basically, if you were to clear floor 36, I believe it capped at 1.8 million. It would have been in my past video. Then if you cleared floor 36, then you would have been able to clear all the milestones, right? And so there's one thing that they did do okay is that they did change it back to, well, if you clear floor 36, you will get all the milestones. However, you only have a 48-hour period to do so. You have, I guess day one and day two. I've already done my day one, so I made it up to floor 31, thankfully. And so I need to now go from 31 to 36 to get to the additional milestone rewards that I didn't pick up yet. And there is a lot of stuff here up for grabs. Now, I'll state the obvious that the big problem here is that we're only given 48 hours to do so instead of 7 days. And that does not give a lot of time for newer players and mid-game accounts or anything like that to climb, even with a handful of teams per day. And so this is a big, huge problem that at my alt account, I think I managed to get to floor 9, or I cleared floor 9 on day one. And slowly, I'm going to maybe do like 3 or 4 floors a day. However, I only have a second day to run this, so I'm very unlikely to get a lot of the milestones that I need for the weekly event, or the event that's ongoing right now that requires wilderness orb fragments. And you get double the event points for every orb fragment that you get. And some of this is necessary in clearing the weekly meta event, something that I explained in the Envoy server that they haven't addressed yet. They said that there may be some more stuff coming, more communication coming out later on Tuesday. So we'll see. That's going to be sometime after this video goes out. And so we'll see if that ends up happening. What they did is they now that the leaderboard has been compromised because that switch over on the points took place, like I said, anything from floor 31 and above got changed in their point allocation. It absolutely screwed up the leaderboard, and so they removed everything, just chuck some gold on there, and it's going to end in at the end of that. And I don't know if it's actually coming back or not. And so I just want to say right up front here, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Captain Britain and this Illuminati Showcase FAQs. I have done a video with another creator who that video is going to go out. It's a discussion piece on Captain Britain and the state of the community and things like that. And I did that video before this FAQ came out. So I'm gonna address the FAQ very quickly at the beginning of my next video, and then we're gonna go into that discussion, which is gonna go out later on today. But I want to talk about the free calendar. There's just so much that came out today. The free calendar clarification. Some of you might have noticed a weekend calendar, especially those of you who frequent my Discord. We kind of talked about this. There was a weekend free calendar that contained gold and mega gold orb. Actually, that's wrong. It was just a mega orb fragment. It wasn't even a mega gold orb fragment, unless there was a different one. There was 1 million gold and a mega orb, not mega gold orb, as far as I'm aware. Anyways, this special calendar was part of a test we were running to encourage weekend play with the intention of offering the rest of our players the reward. So A/B testing basically came back. Some people got it, some people didn't. My alt account got it, my main account did not. However, I found out that it actually wasn't based on like the age of your account, that it was just seemingly at random. So I don't know. If you didn't receive the calendar, don't worry, you're gonna get it eventually coming this coming weekend. We'll be sending out an inbox on Friday. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's just been an absolute mess lately in terms of like their organization. We also want to share that starting today at 9 p.m. in your local time zone, all players will receive a special 4th of July login calendar. Now, that is something that I have received, and that is an Alpha Flight calendar. Now, it's my understanding that this was not supposed. They actually fixed it because it actually had a different title. It had 4th of July listed with something to do with Captain America, which is total bullshit. But anyways, apparently this calendar was not actually meant to come to the players. It was meant to be a paid offer. However, some people started getting it, especially those in Australia, and then they basically had to, at that point, give it to everyone else. So I guess kudos to them for that one, for making sure that everyone's going to get it. There is 30 shards of Sasquatch and 15 of the other Alpha Flight characters, and some of that might help towards going towards another rank, or at least an early unlock for Sasquatch. So, or whatever, for what it's worth, there it is. There's going to be another event calendar. Now, I think the only reason why I don't have it yet is because, well, my daily reset's in 3 minutes, and I decided to record this video beforehand. That is going to be an event 4th of July calendar that is going to contain a lot of milestone points for this mapping of the wilderness. We did discuss how much of points is that in the previous video to this one, I believe, when I did an update to the math. So I'm going to be posting that on my Discord server as well if you want the math charts for that, for this event, which is honestly still just a little bit messed up. But I think that we should be able to get at least to milestone 14, I suppose, when all is said and done. I'm actually hoping that they compensate us, maybe send out some compensation in orb fragments to help push this milestone a little bit more, because newer players and mid-game players are going to get screwed because of Sword Satellite. And so the fact that the Sword Satellite is ending in a day and a half from now, and that doesn't give a lot of time to grind. It was supposed to be a 7-day tower, which has now been reduced to 48 hours. So that part is a pretty big problem for mid-gamers. Now, I do want to talk about the actual blog post for Sword Satellite. Upon the release of Sword, I basically already, I already mentioned this, affected the points to ensure that all players have a chance to unlock the same milestones as those who were able to before the change. The team has adjusted milestones so players can achieve the same progress. Now, I just want to make that very clear that you do need to make it to level 36, floor 36, in order to clear the milestones. We will replace the leaderboard rewards, blah, 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 blah. I already talked about that as well. Now, this is what's interesting. This is intended to allow people to see their placement. Oh, no, sorry, this part here. The following allow us to retain the leaderboard rewards for the following run of the Sword Tower. Both will be included in the next Sword Satellite intended to launch in the near future. Now, I don't know 100%. However, I am inclined to think that this is not being rerun this week. I think that's why they want you to push the milestones ASAP. Otherwise, that would be basically like 2 iterations of the rewards of the milestones back to back, and I don't think that they want to do that. The current version of Sword Satellite will end on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. This will give players time to practice and earn rewards before the leaderboard competition heats up. Now, I'd argue that 2 days is really not a lot of time to quote-unquote practice. And for many people, they won't be able to reach floor 36 in the span of 2 days. So that's going to be a little bit troublesome as well. And then newer and mid-game players won't even be able to get to floor 20, which floor 20 is where you need to get to in order to basically max out the event currency for this week-long event mapping the wilderness. So that's why I said that I really hope that maybe they'll consider sending out some orb fragments as compensation for some of those players who are going to be in jeopardy of completing the weekly event because they were not able to progress in Sword fast enough. So for people who are endgame players who have a very high roster TCP, I don't think that that's going to be much of a problem to climb Sword Satellite as long as you are diligent with your team and you're able to get to 36 by the end of day 2. That is a big feat for some people, but for a lot of people like 50, 60 million TCP and above, probably is a bit of a less of a struggle. But we know that Sword Satellite is a TCP roster flex. That's what it is, flat out. That the better roster. And the more TCP that you have, the more floors that you can clear, especially on day one. That's like the most important progress, is making sure that you're able to clear that. Now let's take a look at floor 36. Actually, the funny thing, yeah, so this requires I think you either need like an apocalypse or scroll basically to beat 35. 36 is a little bit easier though. Now, what I think is really funny, and I guess this is going to come back in the future, is the floors that are 41 plus and above. I do want to discuss this very quickly here, even though we're probably not going to get to that. Maybe some people, manage to do that. Maybe there's some crazy content creators out there who are going to be able to get to 41 plus and, do some video footage of that. But we have an apocalypse hybrid team here. We have like Alpha Flight, but it's like a mixed Alpha Flight here with Sasquatch, who pretty much has on spawn taunt. We have Pavitra here, and they all have diamonds too, right? So 4 million, 7 characters, Apocalypse, North Star. We have floor 42. We have a Black Knight. I wonder if he's nerfed or if he like is flat out Black Knight. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do some like arena shenanigans, maybe Spider-Man big time, some way to, or Old Man Logan if you have him at 5 yellow, right? That's gonna make a pretty big deal there. Pretty interesting floor there. Floor 43, you have not Cabal. You have Iron Patriot, though, but you have 2 Morgan Le Fays. 6 characters total. Here, Red Skull just for turn bar, really, at that point, I think. Floor 44, you have this abomination. Wolverine, Dakin, Dormammu, Juggernaut. Like, it's such a weird mix. A lot of tanks, actually, in fact. So that's probably what they're going for there. And the revive mechanic. I would probably use Extreme X-Men here, just because Cyclops is going to, clear the revive once. I think that's probably what I would end up doing there. Floor 45, the boss, we have 2 Miss Marvel Hardlights, and we have Green Goblin Classic and Captain America's and Firestar. I'd probably use Super Skrull, I think, maybe, to ability block. Maybe a second ability block would be nice if I could, or a Disrupt, maybe a Spider-Man Big Time, actually, and Super Skrull, disrupt one of them, and then ability block the other one, something like that. 46, you do have a scroll with more Alpha Flight, or different Alpha Flight. In this case, it's like the 3 others. And then we have 2 Cosmic Ghost Riders. That's going to be a lot of barrier. They always throw in some weird Green Goblin regular, and then Yellow Jacket, and Icarus with no Cersei. Kind of strange. Floor 48, we got a mixture hybrid there as well, but we do have Zombie Juggernaut, who's going to probably taunt and be a pain in the ass. And floor 49, 2 Iron Patriots. Again, another Dormammu, so you need to clear that revive once. Possibly, maybe Extreme X-Men might be able to do something to that. But that's a pretty big team. And then, of course, sitting here at the top, Mephisto, Apocalypse, Zombie Juggernaut for the taunts, and same with Pandapool for the taunts. Absolute mess. And I'd be looking forward to actually maybe taking a look at that floor on other creators or any hardcore players if they manage to get there this time around, just for sheer shits and giggles, because I think that I don't know if you need a Mephisto to beat Mephisto. I'm gonna wager you do, and there's not gonna be a lot of people that can actually clear that. Anyways, it would be maybe the top 500 players in the game in Marvel Strike Force right now that even have Mephisto. So there we are. That's Sword Satellite. That's the updates of things that are happening. Make sure you get as much progress as you can in Sword Satellite, because the rewards are just absolutely insane for all those milestone juicy rewards that you're able to get. The red gear, the red orbs, the diamond orbs, those are really big too. Even up to floor 20, I was able to get 4 diamond orbs. That's a lot, including all of the red gear orbs in there, and the event orbs for more Sasquatch shards as well, and especially towards the main event milestone, which honestly, I kind of think that's compromised as well, personally, because there's a leaderboard with Skrull, and they haven't really discussed this part here, because if you're not able to clear the milestones in the 2 days there, that's going to impact the total points that you're going to get on this. And I think that this integrity is kind of is fucked as well. But that's just my thoughts. There might be some further updates on this, because I've been pushing them to consider things like this. But we'll see. Otherwise, like I said, my video later on today, I don't know, maybe in 12 hours by the release of this video, there's going to be a conversation piece that's going to be talking about Captain Britain and basically the community's reaction to that over the last handful of days. So look forward to that. Otherwise, until next time, everybody, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon, signing out.